what needs to happen in Mannheim this summer? It is the first title in 5 years for Flensburg.
I'm going to put Metz as number 2 on my power ranking at the moment.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi, double in flight. Oh, what a start!
Into the net.
She does it again.
Yes, and Magdeburg are the champions of Europe. For something here, she has a game. Surprise the keeper. What a comeback!
And then it is time to talk handball again, everybody. We couldn't be more excited because we know the princes of Europe. We know the princesses of Europe. And it is finally time to crown the kings and the queens of Europe. But we will get there eventually. Let's at first get him in. My personal king of the beach, the Danish one. Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Vilstrup. How's it going?
It's going pretty well, thank you, Bengt. Little bit tired. Maybe you can hear it on the voice as well. I came home 2:30 a.m. Last night and had to go to work at 7 a.m. So a little bit tired, but I guess it's the living of a beach handball player. So it's okay. And what about yourself?
Yeah, sounds like it. You do look a little bit taken away by the weekend, but well, that's just how it goes, I guess. But yeah, myself, I living my best life at the minute. So just traveling around a lot. We have been starting with the beach volleyball again over here in Germany. But that's for some other time. But until then, yeah, I am doing pretty fine so far. That's where I got all this color from as well. But that's a different topic. How has your beach handball weekend been?
Oh, it's actually been pretty well. Besides the weather in the Netherlands, it was raining a little bit in the beginning, but and that obviously have a big influence on the game. But
that's what you get for playing in the Netherlands, I guess.
Exactly. So we shouldn't get our expectations too high whenever we go to the Netherlands. But yeah, we won 10 out of 10 games and we're in the final against the opponent that we already won against. But then we lost it in a shootout. So we came second. So yeah, it sucks to be in a final and lose it, especially when you already beat them once. So yeah, the team is the 12 Monkeys that I played the German championship for. So it's a tough one because I know many of the guys.
Yeah, well, so that actually does sound like there have been maybe some chance in your direction, or at least some happy faces for beating Martin Vilstrup here. But a silver medal for the GOAT of beach handball. I was not expecting that.
I'm disappointed as well, Bengt. So let's not wrap any more into it because, yeah, it sucks. Obviously, we lost against a good team, but whenever you're there, you want to win it. And also because, yeah, we kind of wanted to go through the tournament with being the only team that haven't lost any matches. And we were pretty close, but yeah, it's the small details in the end, and we didn't have them in our favor. So yeah, next one, I guess, is the easy answer for me to say. The next one.
Yeah, maybe it's always just the small little things in the end, but well, at least you won't concede another defeat today because Victor isn't here. Victor actually is at a gala, and that's why he can't join us. We're recording just on Monday because prior to that there would not have been too much sense talking about the final of the European League without actually having seen it. So that's why we came together here this Monday to see how the last weekend went. But yeah, Victor unfortunately couldn't make it. So yeah, that's why it's just you and me today. But Victor will, just like that. But Victor will join us yet again the upcoming weekend. Are you looking forward to it?
I am actually looking a lot forward to it because, last time we were together were in January at the European Championship with the men's in Germany. And once again, we get the chance to have some quality time, if we can put it like that, and be able to watch some great handball. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and especially having in mind from what we saw last year with the EHF FINAL4 in Budapest, and also with the season in mind we had so far.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's always nice to go to the big arenas with full arenas to watch the best teams in the world.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope so, that we will get an audience that is almost as close to what we got last year, because that was just completely insane with that world record being broken last year, and some crazy stories that were being told, but we will get there, and we will be live once again. So just this weekend, we will start off our live duties on Friday, 12 p.m. So on YouTube. If you're watching the podcast right here on YouTube, you're just where you want to be. So we will be streaming vertically. That will be interesting. So this will be your second screen next to watching your matches at home, and I am looking forward to it. We have some interactive segments with the people on venue. We'll have, of course, we'll be having a lot of stars in the arena and in the podcast there as well. And I mean, it just can end up being great. There's no way around it. I am pretty sure that we are gonna make ourselves a blast, and I'm looking forward to it. But everything just when it's time for it, let's at first have a look back on what happened last weekend, and I would say let's work our way up from the bottom, if one can put it like that. But Bucuresti lost both their matches this weekend. But still, I mean, they have been having a blast of a season with Akimenko in their roster. They had the top scorer with 95 goals, I think it was in the end. What's your impression of the Bucuresti throughout the whole season?
Well, first of all, also to add it up a little bit, we can say that I think we're going live Friday at 12. If people was wondering when will we be live or from where, and I think you know better than me, Bengt, maybe it's YouTube that we're being live on at that time on the Home of Handball EHF channel. So it's just about. But to get back to the question, also with Dynamo Bucuresti, I think we also said it a little bit in the previous episode that last year they were a Champions League team, EHF Champions League team, and in general, it's a tournament, this one with the EHF European League, where there's a lot of teams with high quality, and you can see that when a team like Dynamo Bucuresti ends up being fourth in a weekend in Germany, obviously that also had something to say. Even though I saw some pictures also of the fans from Dynamo, and they were giving it all, and you know that's also what you say in some way expect from them, you know, being loud and having some kind of an attitude. But to me, the weekend with Dynamo, also if I look at it on the stats in general, they had too few saves, you know, lack of saves. I think they were probably the team with the fewest saves. I haven't double checked on that one, but against Flensburg Handewood, they had 5 saves with Chupara in goal, and you know, former Veszprem goalkeeper. You can in some way, Victor mentioned his name also in the previous one. You can expect more from that, and when you're gonna have 5, and on the other hand, Kevin Müller had 11. Which is also not the highest number, but still is double the amount of what Dynamo had, then it's tough to compete against teams like the other teams here, in this case also Flensburg Handewood. So maybe disappointed about conceding 38, and I think they conceded over 30, 33 or something like that against also Heineke Leuven, if it's not, I can see now 32. So I expected a little bit more also with the experienced player they have, Ali Zain, who's also one of the players that you normally look at defensively for Dynamo. So
Yeah, absolutely. It has been a disappointing weekend if you look at it from Bucuresti's side, but I mean, one has to draw that lottery. Unfortunately, there can't be only winners, and I mean, it was super tight in the end. But still, the Rhein-Neckar Lions beat them by 1 goal there. And it shouldn't take anything away from a glorious season that they played. So becoming 4th in Europe's second tier is definitely worth mentioning. And just like I said, Akimenko with the 95 goals, the top scorer of this year's competition. But I mean, those 95 goals, they put some relation on the numbers that we saw last year by Odin Rickardsson scoring 110 goals. And they ended up in the quarterfinal. So they didn't even make it to Flensburg last year. That was last year, but this year was a good one for Bucharesti. And I mean, they will end up looking at it and be like, yeah, well, not much more that we could have done here. So all good in the end. And the Rhein-Neckar Löwen, they were, in the end, the luckier team. But they had the better goalkeeper there as well. David Spät saving the last ball. I think Sinic was it that fired the ball towards David Spät, but he saved it to keep it at the 32-31 lead for the Löwen. And yeah, especially David Spät, he's one to watch out for. Former Respect Your Talent alumni, and that's where we can say hats off. That was a massive performance by David Spät this entire European League season. The quarterfinal against Sporting with the 31 saves there as well. So yeah, where do you see him in the near future?
Well, definitely Germany has some exciting players coming up in terms of already gaining a little bit of experience from the European Championship in January with Justus Fischer, Nils Lichtlein, the name I just forgot. Also, I was about to say the right back from Germany who also exactly, thank you, Bengt, and also David Spät. And it's already players that play together in the youth team, but obviously they need a little bit of time. They need some experience, and they gained this one in this case with David Spät from the European League, and this league line and all the other players from playing the Bundesliga. They will grow, and it's these kind of matches where they also get to show the quality that they have. So David Spät is going to be interesting to watch, and also for the future for Rhein-Neckar Löwen, he will be important player. I like the David Spät, the attitude that he brings towards the court whenever he saves a ball. It's like he's almost celebrating like it's the last save he's going to have. Yeah. And I like that, giving it back to the audience, the ones that give them so much. So the attitude for him, he can maybe by time also be a character where if he end up having the day that some of the other players will fear a little bit, because once he first gets fired up, then he can be pretty dangerous for the opponents. Excited, and also the interesting players they have, not only Rhein-Neckar Löwen here, but also Germany in general.
Absolutely. But let's stay there at the Rhein-Neckar Löwen for another minute, because it was a season of ups and downs. One really has to put it like that, because in the Bundesliga it definitely wasn't the results that they were fighting for. Kirkelüge did tell us that as well. But eventually they ended up becoming third in European second tier. Still, is that enough for the Rhein-Neckar Löwen to save their season? What's your opinion on that?
Wow. I wouldn't say so, in terms of saving a season. And I also saw Jorik Noor saying, well, European League been the only tournament where we've been performing, acceptable or pretty well. So if you look at it, as Niklas also said, only at the European League, well, they can be satisfied about what they've been delivering, and they ended up in the Final Four event in Hamburg. And as a German team, that's obviously big, but becoming third, it's a tough one. They were the underdogs. They can be satisfied about the result, but in general, the season, I don't think it was acceptable for Rhein-Neckar Löwen when you look at it with the domestic league, the Bundesliga, and also the team in mind that they have, maybe unlucky with a couple of injuries. Gensheimer, for example, experienced players. I know they have David Moret, who's also a young one to watch out for. And also Goretzky got an injury in January, and they are probably also the players somebody else will look at when it's going to be difficult, and they didn't have them here on the court. They had them off the court, and that also means something. But in general, I would say a little bit disappointed by Rhein-Neckar Löwen. But great to see also a player like Tobias Reichmann coming back. I think the way he took over from Goretzky has been delivering pretty well, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, once that we are looking at the squad of the Rhein-Neckar Löwen, we'll have to look into the future with Yuri Knorr. I don't even know. Is it confirmed yet that he will leave the club? I
actually think
sure
it is
about it right now. But yeah, Yuri Knorr potentially leaving the club, and then you have Uwe Gensheimer ending his career. You have Niklas Kirgelöge leaving for Flensburg. So what needs to happen in Mannheim this summer?
Yeah, well, first of all, is obviously a huge blow for them, where I don't even think it's confirmed, although I just said it. But there's been rumors about Yuri Knorr leaving the club and that he wants to try something else. But if you look at the starting lineup, it could be Appelgren also, it could be Kirgelöge, it could be Yuri Knorr, Gensheimer, and all those kind of players and characters. Them leaving. One thing is a huge loss for them as a club, but it also give them an opportunities to start up from afresh and build up the team around some other players. They've probably been hoping and wishing for Yuri Knorr was the guy they should build the team around, but they have to find someone else. And with the position they're in at the moment, in the middle of the Bundesliga and not playing any European competitions next year, it's going to be interesting to see which players they can sign, because there are at the moment other clubs in Germany that are bigger, and we don't have to mention them, but obviously all the teams that are above them, there are a lot of them with also a history that speaks in the favor of them. So they have to go out and figure out in which direction they want to go, what's possible for them in terms of getting players that maybe can attract somebody else. But they have the younger players that we said with David Moret, David Speth. They also have the Swedish guy that we probably Gustav Davidsson. So I don't know if it's players that they are, can you say, at the moment strong enough to build a team around, but they are young and they have the future for them. But it's going to be interesting to see. It's difficult. They need to go find some big players that one big name can quickly attract other players that they want to play for it. And Rhein-Neckar Löwen also have a history that they can rely on. But without playing European competitions, it can always be tough, because that's the main goal for every player.
But I mean, I heard that Nikola Karabatic and Mikkel Hansen are off this after this season, so maybe
and Andy Schmidt and Canelias and
maybe then Uwe Gensheimer will go back for one more season then. But well, that's just some other topic here. But yeah, then let's have a look at two, as you said, bigger German clubs, because they reached the final. Füchse Berlin and SG Flensburg Handewitt. It was one hell of a ride. And to conclude it here, I would say the 36-31 sounds a lot more clearer than the game was, because it didn't look that clear all the way through. So we had a super fast-paced start here by Füchse Berlin. They took the lead with 4-1, but in the 18th minute they lost it for the first time, and then it was a back and forth, and Füchse were behind almost all game long for 3 goals, or with 3 goals. And if they would have managed to come back for like one more time, or just have one more attack that would have gone in the closing minutes, then you wouldn't be talking about a 36-31, but maybe having a 29-28 and 28 close to the end, and then it just all depends on one more attack. So, yeah, it sounds so clear, but I don't think the result does justice for the match, because Füchse Berlin actually they had their chances of winning this final.
Yeah, as you said, they started off well, and then Flensburg bounced back, but I think it was around the 43 minute or something like that. It was 23, and after that Flensburg had a 3-goal run, and from there on they had the upper hand, and now from that minute we can also speak about playing tough matches in a weekend, who had the most energy, and also mentally feeling that, hey, I'm a couple of goals up. But as you said, it was obviously closer the game than the result says. But Kissel being 6 goals on 14 attempts is normally also something that you don't see. And also Lasse Andersson with 5 goals on 12 attempts. That's, 11 goals on 26 attempts from 2 players that are very, very important for Berlin. On the other side, you can argue about that scoring 31 goals. And, they didn't lack any of ability to create chances and score goals here. And once again, also Kevin Müller had the more saves than the 2 goalkeepers from Füchse Berlin. And
he saved 2 penalties in the first half, and those were crucial. So those actually, held Flensburg in the game. And as you said, it was tied until the 43rd, 44th minute or somewhere in that direction. Yeah. Kevin Müller actually played a crucial performance here, and that's why he would have deserved the MVP maybe as well, but he didn't end up there.
Oh, and it's always the decisive moment, and also mentally, missing and saving penalties is a big thing. But Emil Jakobsen, I think he's 18 goals on 19 attempts. That is also MVP worthy.
Yeah,
and that's the thing about finals and semifinals, that there are a lot of players delivering, and which are the criteria for whoever should get the MVP. But I don't think anyone can point fingers about Emil Jakobsen, because some of the goals he scores, they are from tight angle. He had a couple of spin shots, and the way he's just, played with confidence, and he's that type of player, he don't need that much of a space. His jumping abilities, they are crazy. So what a weekend for Emil Jakobsen, and being MVP, and also winning the EHF European League, which I think was important for Flensburg also, with the last season in mind, going out in the just before for the
quarterfinal
win.
And having the event at home.
Exactly, being played in Flensburg, and it's against a team, Spanish team Granollers, that you actually won against on away. And normally going to Flensburg, it would be you would have the upper hand, because they are playing really very, very well at home. So but Emil Jakobsen was one of them. Kevin Müller, also Lasse Müller, I think he also plays and has been playing for Flensburg the last couple of months very, very well. So it was, I think, much needed also for Flensburg, this title with injuries. And also have to quickly mention, it was great to see Kai Smits being back on the court and actually scoring a goal. And what a goal he actually scored, to be back. So that's one of the stories besides, the competition. It's great to see Kai Smits being back on the court.
Yeah, and one really has to see where the road will lead now for Flensburg, because with the transfer of Kai Smits and Simon Pytlik there as well a while ago, and Niklas Kegelöger right now, it is the first title in 5 years for Flensburg, and the city has been craving for some successes here, but now they actually finally got it. And what do you think? Where's the road leading for SG Flensburg Handewitt? Can they even attack even bigger goals? I don't want to take anything away from the EHF European League. That is a massive achievement. But looking in the direction of Bundesliga and qualifying for the Machine Seeker EHF Champions League again, that would be a goal for Flensburg.
Yeah, obviously it is, also for the players and also for the coach. But I think if we look at a Flensburg team that don't have that many injuries as they had on key positions, especially the right back position, where they have to bring in Einarsson and also Sivkovic, I think that was a huge loss for them in terms of also Kai Smits. We all know which quality player he is. So also important for them to bring in Kirkelægge, so they have another quality backup without taking anything from the Icelandic and guy from Austria, because they also been doing their best. And I think it's the first season from Nikolaj Krikau, and it also takes a little bit of time for him to get to know the league, how it works with that many games, cup games, European competitions. So having a look at the Bundesliga, and then now they got a title, I think we can expect also a little bit more from them from the next one, because he will obviously try to implement all the stuff that he has, Nikolaj, and all the players that he's bringing in. Also, you said it earlier, Bengt, have pass from GOG. So what can we expect for them and see also? So they need time, coaches, which is not always a thing that you have the most of in sport. So so it's going to be interesting to see with the second year of Flensburg Handewitt.
That is some stuff for the future. That will be some interesting stuff for the future, and we will be looking forward to that. But until then, there is a lot more handball to be played, and that is going to be played in Budapest. And you guys can see it. I'm starting to grin here because it is time to crown the queens of Europe, and we have 4 teams still in it. We have Esbjerg versus Gjør in the first semifinal, and Bietigheim versus Metz in the second semifinal. What's your hot ranking? Let's start here with the 4th team, and the power ranking of how good those teams are may not lead to your final standings here. Just that as a disclaimer. Who do you got on the 4th spot in your power ranking?
I have to go with our German friends from Bietigheim, although they knocked out EKEST and Odense. They've been. Can you say this year's FTC, qualifying for the first time for the EHF FINAL4 and, surprising us because the group phase was like Bietigheim did last year also, starting well. And then in the end, not getting that many points. So for me, Bietigheim would be in number 4. And I think they are okay with being the underdogs. And I think that, 99% would say that Bietigheim are the underdogs also here.
Absolutely. So Bietigheim just went through the group stage as the 6th in the group. So they managed to go through. That is some development when we look at the last season, because they started with 5 victories as well. But just like you said, they managed to bounce back. And they managed to beat their kryptonite with Odense. So it has been quite some time since they beat Odense, and they came over it. And it is the first season as a coach of Jakob Vestergaard, and one can really say what a wild ride it was. So starting here with the first 5 matches that he won, and then losing to Odense again, then going downwards all the way again. So still, they were the underdogs in all their knockout matches already, but they managed to do it, and managed to do it in a good manner. So I don't think that we will see a uncomfortable Bietigheim with the underdog role, and I see them going to the final, even though they are on the 4th spot in the power ranking.
You're not seeing them beating Metz here.
I am seeing them beating Metz. That's what I'm telling you.
And you said also Chesem Bucharesti was beating Metz, and so did Victor.
That's
and I think it has something to do with me picking Metz as the winner of the competition before. Either is you guys not hoping that I'm right, or it's because you actually believe in Bietigheim in this case.
I actually do believe in Bietigheim because they know what it takes to come from an underdog role, and I am very much looking forward to that. That matchup. But before we talk about Metz, let's talk about the 3rd one in your power ranking, because I don't think that would be Metz for you.
No, that won't be Metz, and I have to go with actually Gjør, and it's a little bit weird, maybe. Yeah, I'm putting Gjør there.
That's interesting.
FTC won the cup. FTC won the league. Gjør was the unbeaten team in the beginning of the EHF Champions League, but after they actually secured the spot on the first place, they had a couple of losses and also a draw, a fired coach, a fired assistant coach with a lot of drama after, and appointing a new coach also. So it's been a lot of things going on in Gjør, and in general it has been unsatisfying season for them. So obviously, if they need to in some way just save the season, they need to win this one. But I don't believe they do so. But we will get back to that in terms of my power ranking and why. So I put Gjør on the spot number 3.
That's super interesting. Then we will probably not have a single more power ranking spot that we have the same. So on my number 3, I'm putting Esbjerg. Because of course, once you have Nora Merck and Henny Reistad in your team, you probably will most likely be favorites in most of the matches that you play. But I don't know. So I still see Györ ahead of them just because they were that unbeaten team ahead of the season. Not ahead of the season, at the start of the season. And I can really see that there was a loss of pressure. So once they had that first spot secured, they really didn't feel like they needed to do it anymore, and that does something to your head. And then the long break, and eventually, well, we have to talk about them not having won or just having won 2 games out of the last 5. Of course, that is something that needs to be talked about. But if there is one team that will be spot on, that will be super motivated to go through to the final, it will be Györ, it will be Anna Gross, and I do see that she will take in a leading role here to put Györ into the favorite position against Esbjerg. So you're going with a final Metz against Esbjerg?
I am, but are you going with a final Györ against Bietigheim?
I am. That is interesting. That is interesting. So we'll see. But yeah, I do think that Anna Gross is gonna take the battle of the titans between Gross, Mörk, and Reistad. So will be a tight one.
I'm ready to bet whatever soft drink and a push-up also, if you want to.
All right, one soft drink and a push-up it is. So we'll see whoever is right for the final here. It is the last season of Jesper Jensen here for Esbjerg as well. How does the Danish press see him?
Well, he's also the national team coach, and the national team in Denmark haven't, before Jesper Jensen took over, they had Claus Brun Jørgensen. There was a lot of things going on there. They had a couple of decent, acceptable results, but after Jesper Jensen took over, I think the Danish national team has been going in the right direction and also winning medals and being competitive with Norway, France, and the Netherlands, Spain, whatever great national team that is out there. So, people are excited to see if Esbjerg can do it, because the last 2 times they've been at the EHF Final4, they haven't fulfilled their own dreams and losing the semifinal. So obviously they're disappointed about that. So I believe they come with a hunger they haven't had before. Also everybody want to give Jesper Jensen the perfect ending of the story. So before someone else is taking over.
Yeah, and I mean, if we look at the youngest history of Esbjerg, they are now in Budapest for the 3rd time in a row. They haven't won a game, so they have been losing all their matches whenever they went to Budapest. But you do think that Mörk and Reistad will have what it takes to break the hoodoo?
Well, I can say my number 2 on the power ranking if you want to hear that one. To be fair, you have to be objective also. Even though I predicted that Metz will win it, I'm going to put Metz as number 2 on my power ranking at the moment. They just became the France champions in France over Brest, but I think Metz with Sarah Buktit on the line, and also Christina Janssen. She's been playing unbelievable well this season. I just think that Metz has been delivering all year, actually, I would say, in the Champions League. The group stage were good for them. Also, they didn't show any sign of weaknesses in the knockout stage. I would say they won pretty comfortable, and now they against Bietigheim, they are the big favorites here. So I don't see why they shouldn't go into the final. And
but why number 2 on power ranking after everything you said?
Well, because I'm gonna say why when it comes to Esbjerg, and there's one different thing from the previous 2 years than this year with Esbjerg, and I can say it unless you think.
Go ahead. No, all good.
Okay. Well, to me, first of all, the only thing that can change my mind is that Henny Reistad and Nora Mörk had been struggling a little bit with injuries, and Nora Mörk haven't been playing the national Danish championship finals. We had here Henny Reistad did a little bit. Breistøl got a smaller injury. in one of the games. So that's 3 key players. If they're not 100% fit, for me, that's obviously going to change it a lot. But I think Esbjerg also have the hunger, so they kind of telling themselves, if we can spare them in these matches and save them for the EHF Final 4, then we will do so. And they won the first game with 15 goals in the final. So it's not like it was a pretty tight one. Nora Mørk been shooting some penalties. Henny Reistad came in. But the big difference is that last year, Esbjerg played the first matchup in the Danish Championship final. Then they played the EHF Final 4. And then after, they had to play the second leg in the Danish Championship, whether they want gold or silver medal. So obviously, when you stand in a bronze medal match in the EHF Champions League Final 4, compared to winning gold at home in the domestic league, this year they already won it. So the only thing they can focus on now and have their eyes on is the Champions League trophy. So to me, that makes a big difference that they're not playing a big tournament like that in between another big matches. And they won. They are undefeated in the Danish league. They won the cup. They won the Danish league. They won the Super Cup. And I think they only lost 3 matches in the entire season in the Champions League. So to me, that just screams out loud that you have to be up there on the power ranking number 1, and also just got the nomination of the world's best handball player, Henny Reistad. I don't see why they are not on number 1, actually.
Well, I mean, having lost only 3 matches the entire season, Metz. You just said that Metz actually just became champion here as well in France, and they have some high class players. They have
won the cup also.
They have some high class players there as well, and are your favorites. So I don't really see your arguments to put Esbjerg above Metz here. But it's completely fair. It's completely fair. So
I also see it as they have experienced players like Henny Reistad, who's been there before, who's been there before, and they have the world's best player, and also that they are already done with the Danish league, which Metz also are, but Metz weren't there last year. So. They have some experience as a team, also Jesper Jensen, to be there and know what it takes. So I think, and it will also be the small details that's going to decide it. So it can be those kind of things. Yeah. I've seen a lot of times Nora Mørk, whenever the games are high intense, she take the ball into her own hands. And, she's the kind of type that would rather have the ball in her own hands than somebody else, take the decision for her. So I think that will be some of the key points from my perspective, and we will all be clever. But I'm excited to hear who's going to win the final between your German new favorite team, Bickenheim, or Győr from Hungary.
At first to close down Metz here, I wanted to come back to your point of the hunger, that Esbjerg is hungry. Well, I mean, can you tell me about all the EHF Champions League titles that Metz has won? No, you can't, because there hasn't been one. And now they come in being spot on with their top performance. And, right now they want to finish it. They want to get it for the first time. No. I put them second. Bietigheim is fourth in my power ranking, but they will end up against Metz. They're winning against Metz as the underdogs. But Győr is above Esbjerg, so my power ranking is Győr on 1, Metz on 2, Esbjerg on 3, and Bietigheim on 4th. But we will see. I would say we will see Bietigheim against Győr, and Győr will take it home for Anna Gross for the first time, because she is just craving for that Champions League title, and I think it was the last 4 Champions League runs for her that have been ended by the Vipers, and she actually broke that streak. So there is nothing in her way anymore that is stopping Anna Gross from raising this title. That she finally deserves. Anna Gross deserves a Champions League title. So that's where I would say I'm staying with it. Győr is going to take it home.
But actually, I like it when we don't agree on these predictions and these calls, and even we haven't even spoke about it one word before we started the episode. So it's as surprising it is for maybe the listeners, it is for you and me as well. So, and we will know in 1 week, and it would also be a little bit boring if we said the same. So I like that you go with a different call. And normally, if I'm going to give you any credit here, it's not that often that I do, Bengt. You have a tendency to be a little bit risky, or maybe not risky, but take the underdog's role. And I like that one. But I'm going in a different direction. So we will see.
I mean, if there is one weekend for surprises, it is the final weekend of the Champions League. It doesn't matter if it's the EHF Champions League Women or the Machine Seeker EHF Champions League. So, I would say let's look forward to the surprises, don't we?
Yeah, I do a lot. I'm looking forward to be back, not only with you guys, but also in Budapest. And just to be able to, I know that the spot that we have in the arena is going to be even better this year than last year. So it's just about, tuning in and following us on all the channels from the EHF. I'm super excited. I'm going to even start packing tomorrow night just because,
right now because I'm so stoked. Exactly. I'm in that one now. So handball is just more nice when you can watch it live, and we will be so lucky to do so in the weekend coming up. And we will do it with you and for you. We will get you into the arena. So this Friday it is 12 p.m. Tune in on youtube.com/homeofhandball. So that will be great. We are looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all on Friday when it's time to talk handball again.
Ball across to Dylan Nahi. Double in flight. Oh, what a start.
Ooh, into the net.
She does it again! Yes!
Flensburg are the champions of Europe!